Hey, good morning, everybody. Oof. Well, just an update. Nothing drastic going on. The podcast went great. Um, I was actually able to talk about the book. So, Gray Men groups and uh, survivalists. Yeah, there's a lot more. There's a lot more I haven't said. You know, too much of this political correctness going on. Um, Kind of messes things up. Not able to talk. Not able to say this. Not able to say that. Um, Not in the right groups. Uh, so yeah, I was able to. 3 hours is a bit much. We were kind of struggling there for a little bit to keep on track and keep going. But yeah, if you missed that podcast, um, morning, Bobby. If you missed that podcast, jump in and hey, Mr. Mike Wolf, what's going on, buddy? Uh, where was I? Oh, yeah. If you missed the podcast, they gave me a direct link. So there's no login, there's no this, that, or the other. Um, but it's a direct file to the discussion about the book. Because there's a lot I can't say. There's a lot of subject matter that this book is involved with and directly relates to that I can't talk about. Because again, political correctness in a lot of channels. Um, what do you want to call it? The tinfoil hat syndrome. Miss Mary, good morning, my precious. Um, um, yeah, so I was able to get with this particular podcast and directly relates to. Um, I mean, yeah, once you've read the book, you kind of look at it and go, okay, yeah, I kind of want to get interested in this, and I kind of want to do this because this seems a whole lot simpler uh, than I really understood yard work and gardening to be. Um, but there's so much more. Uh, yeah, there's just so much more, and the survivalists and the gardeners and um, the homesteaders, and I mean every and makes the difference. And why I sit back and say to everybody, um, I want to make the world change 1 yard at a time. You need to understand where that statement comes from, and you're going to hear that in the podcast. You're going to understand there's a huge global problem. Um, and this is no one else is offering a solution to this problem. No one else is looking at the food web in such a way. They all want to bill you and run your prices up on everything. And oh my God, greenhouse gases and oh, what happens if a cow farts and just that. Please don't fall for the political correctness BS. It is just that. It's BS. It's just another way to run prices up to cause us all problems, and that's all it is. Um, so yeah, if please get a chance, I've posted the link. I'm going to post it in the about section as soon as I close this. But listen to that podcast. It's a 3 hour, uh, three sets of commercials, minor sets of commercials. Um, but it's directly relating to the book and coming at it from other directions. They ask questions that no one else would dare ask and came at it from a completely different direction. Um, hey, there's Miss Elegant Homestead. How are you doing, sweetheart? Loved the pet video. Loved it, loved it, loved it. Um, but yeah, you know, and what have you. But a lot of times we find ourselves just kind of roaming around and wish we had an audio track or wish we had something to listen to because that's kind of what YouTube is. It's kind of that audio track in our heads with video and with friends all day long. Um, and people don't realize the kind of trouble that we're actually in on a gardening basis. Um, Elegant Homestead, that's just one reference point, and I'm sure all of you have different reference points in this same category. But she's got a farm, and she's been watching this year after year progressively. The situation is changing on her property. The who, how, and why are kind of important, but can it be corrected? Absolutely. And like Jerry loves to say, the solution's in the book. But you got to understand where this all comes from. And I can't say it in the book because it's going to cause all sorts of problems. I can't say it on other people's channels because, again, it's going to cause all sorts of problems. I can't even say it here because it's going to cause all sorts of problems. But in that podcast, with that couple of interviewers, I was able to actually talk about why, the necessity for this book from the other side, and really be able to lay it out there. And we went into subjects that aren't covered in the book, but are directly related in the book. So this book goes a whole lot further. When I'm asking people to help me with this and asking people to help get this word out, it's not, hey, let's help me sell my book. No, there's a global problem here. There's a huge, huge problem here. Yeah, it's a lack of information, but there's more information past that. There's more information out there that needs to be looked at, everybody. So when I say I need help getting the word out, please get a chance. I understand it's 3 hours, but it's an audio track. It's just a wander around and let your phone play and listen to what's going on, and listen to their side of it. They've both read the book. Um, they took, from just a basic, hey, everybody should probably read this book, to this is a mandatory book. This is one of those must have on your shelves, um, for survivalists, for homeowners. This is that book, in their opinion. And you'll hear it, you know, throughout the podcast. We discuss this from all sorts of different angles, and what all is going on, what's truly going on here. And it's some frightening circumstances. When I ask you to please look at the green side of things and get rid of the chemicals, we go into why during the podcast. We go into what's going on in the podcast. Um, so where I can't say it here, and I wouldn't dare say it on somebody else's channel, um, and I didn't print it in the book, it needs to be heard, and people need to understand what's going on. It goes so much further, so much further. It's not the Indian commercial where the Indian is standing there crying because of all of the trash piling up in the rivers and killing off the fish. And the problem is so much worse than trash piles everywhere. Um, if you're going to get behind anything to try and help the planet, to try and make a difference, get behind the book. Listen to the podcast and you'll understand why. It truly is that important. And I understand a lot of people had trouble staying up that late. And yeah, there were some down points, and I've got to get with the right people to do this the right way, and to have the jokes and to have the fun and to poke the fun, and make it more entertaining. And I'm sure under the right circumstances on the right channel, we probably could and have a lot of fun with this. But at the same time, everybody wants to sit back and go, "Oh yeah, but here come the tinfoil hats, and there's this, and there's," and that's the issue. That's the issue. Everybody's been conditioned to all of this, to look at, well, that's all conspiracy theory. Da 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 da. Look at your damn yard. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's actually happening. Go to your national parks. Take a walk. This isn't a conspiracy theory. Something very drastic is going on here. And unless we start addressing it at home first and working the problem out, we're not going to stop this because it's getting worse every single day. Every plane fly over, every time a car drives by, the problem is progressively getting worse. And every time you go to the store and you pick up any one of these chemicals, and that's exactly what they are, they're chemicals to treat your yard with so called fertilizers. I'm sorry, nature's way doesn't work that way. Nature doesn't break things down on a bag that is chemical dye number da 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 da, chemical registration number da 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 da, patent U.S. patent da 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 da. These are not ingredients to fertilizers. Think that through. If you can't, who holds the copyright on your fertilizers, your weed and feeds, your pesticides? Look at what's really going on. From table to table, there's a problem. And I'm talking from your kitchen table to the operating table. There's something going on. Look at it for yourself. Don't look at it from this conspiracy theorist point of view. Go look. Walk into Home Depot, walk into Lowe's, walk into Ace. Look at the bag. Try and read the ingredients in that bag. If you can't understand the ingredients in that bag, or it doesn't say directly free range cow manure, something there to be worried about. You're contributing to the global problem. Whether it runs off in your yard and goes somewhere into the water table or not, these chemicals are piling up somewhere. We're losing oceans over this stuff. Got to get off the chemicals, everybody. We got to start this repair problem at home. The solutions are in this book. Yeah, I've played this book down and I've tried to low key everything and be so politically correct and so da 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 da. Please listen to the podcast. Listen to the podcast. You'll understand why I'm screaming so loudly how important this book is and why we need to get this information out there. There's the link again, everybody. I cannot stress enough how important this is on a global scale. Yeah, it sounds completely off the deep end. And looking at alone, look at the price mark of my book. Just look at the cost. A whole lot more money. And get that money. It's not about that. It's about getting the word out and getting this old information back into people's heads, getting people thinking this through again, getting people going back to nature, getting our yards and our gardens back the way they're supposed to be. It is a repairable problem. They have not sealed the coffin yet, but it's close. It's close. And until you actually sit down and eat food from a garden using the solutions from my book, you have no idea what real food used to taste like. When the principles of 1953 are still being applied today when it comes to what your recommended daily allowance is. And no one has ever changed that. They don't dare, because once they set the standard in 53, if they were to tell you what it truly is today, you'd be furious with your government and you'd be looking for the answers. Well, the answers are here. When they tell you your daily recommended allowance of something is, that's enough to maintain your health only, not to help you, not to cure you, not to solve cancer, not to solve obesity, not to solve brain damage, not to solve Alzheimer's. If they just keep you barely alive, you're out there earning them a paycheck because you're spending money, earning money, doing what have you, and paying into the system. Real food, demanding it. If you can pick up a box in a grocery store and start reading through it and it's got chemical dye numbers in it, or it's got words in the ingredients that you can't pronounce, because it's your dollars that are going to make the difference. And that's the only way we're going to change this. And when you start growing your own stuff, canning your own stuff, and having an abundance in your own yard, you're not going to need the grocery stores anymore. Think of that savings. We did the comparison the other night. I did it again on Bobby's channel. All right. Cherry tomatoes, the little itty bitty ones, the ones we love on salads. To go in and buy a little container about this size, maybe a little bit bigger, with maybe a dozen, if you're lucky, 2 dozen. We'll just say 2 dozen, just to be on the safe side. 2 dozen of these little sweethearts in there. Limited taste. Maybe it tastes like a tomato, more so water. That's what you're getting. $2 for a container this size with 2 dozen of these little tomatoes in it. There are hundreds of seeds in here. Let's say only half of them germinate because of your soil conditions. Just half. You're going to get not 12, not 24, hundreds of these little babies out of your yard in 75 days. And the flavor, hands down, will make you never go back. And that's without solutions from my book. When you add the solutions to my book and amp this up, gives you good food. Taking my solutions to it guarantees your good health. This little bag, 89 cents. Now do the numbers, everybody. Think about it. Do the numbers. Look at it for what it really is. Hey, Warren, what's going on? And hey, everybody, I haven't mentioned, hey, Chris. Hi, O Silver. Welcome, everybody. Yeah, please, listen to the podcast where I was able to actually open up and talk about this with people who understood and people who support it. These people are almost demanding this is a necessity book. When you understand the global condition we're facing, and you understand how much money you're throwing away, you'll see how important this book is, everybody. So please take the time. I know it's Sunday. I know we have our lulls. I know we have a lot of things not going on YouTube and this, that, and the other. Take the time. This book's that important. Listen to this. Listen to this podcast. Understand there's more to this book than I am talking about. There's more going on here on a global scale than I'm talking about. And this book is that important and needs to get out to everybody. So I'm not going to keep beating you up over this. I'm not going to keep bending your ear about this. I hope everybody's doing great. I really do. I appreciate y'all for stopping in. Down, but yeah, please listen to the podcast. I know that supports a friend of mine. That's not the issue. That's not the point. I'm able to say stuff there I can't say here, and I can't say on any of your channels because political correctness is in the way. But what I've said during the podcast is everything. Oh yeah, absolutely. And everybody, go get yourself a real cup of coffee, not Folgers. Time for some good old-fashioned Maxwell House. Sit back, relax. It is Sunday. Let's try and enjoy the day and what's left for some people and how much more we've got to go for others. It's 72 here in Cleveland today. It's awesome. I need to get out and get some real air because, yep, y'all know I've been locked up in here. It is what it is. But everybody, I appreciate you. Thank you all so much for coming in. Please listen to the podcast. Please come back and let me know you listened to it completely and that you understand what's really going on, guys, because I cover it all. We'll talk to y'all later. Have a great day. I'll see you around the streams.